Picture this, a bustling ancient Greek marketplace, filled with the chatter of philosophers and the aroma of olive oil. Amidst the chaos, one man stands out, not for his appearance, but for his relentless pursuit of wisdom. This is Socrates, the father of Western philosophy, whose life and teachings continue to shape our world today. Born in 470 BCE in Athens, Socrates wasn't your typical Greek citizen. He wasn't interested in wealth, fame, or political power. Instead, he dedicated his life to questioning everything and everyone around him. Can you imagine walking through the streets, minding your own business, when suddenly a barefoot man approaches you and starts asking deep, probing questions about your beliefs and values? That was Socrates for you, always ready to engage in a thought-provoking dialogue. But why should we, modern folks living in a world of smartphones and social media, care about this ancient Greek gadfly? Well, buckle up, because Socrates has some timeless lessons that are more relevant than ever. First off, let's talk about the power of questioning. In a world where we're bombarded with information and facts from all directions, Socrates reminds us to think critically. He famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." What if we applied this principle to our daily lives? Instead of blindly accepting what we see on our news feeds, what if we paused and asked, is this really true? How do I know? Socrates' method of questioning, known as the Socratic Method, wasn't just about being a contrarian. It was about uncovering the truth and exposing ignorance, including his own. He once said, "I know that I know nothing," which might sound like false modesty, but it's actually a profound statement about intellectual humility. In our age of internet experts and armchair pundits, couldn't we all use a dose of Socratic humility? Now, let's fast forward to 399 BCE. Socrates is standing trial, accused of corrupting the youth in empire. Instead of begging for mercy or fleeing the city, he faces his accusers head-on, using his razor-sharp wit and unwavering principles. Even when faced with a death sentence, Socrates refuses to compromise his beliefs. He famously declares, "The unexamined life is not worth living for a human being." This brings us to another crucial lesson from Socrates: the importance of integrity. In a world where it's all too easy to bend the truth or compromise our values for personal gain, Socrates stands as a beacon of moral courage. He chose death over dishonesty, believing that living a just life was more important than mere survival. But don't think for a second that Socrates was some stern, humorless philosopher. On the contrary, he had a wicked sense of humor and a knack for irony. He'd often pretend to be ignorant to expose the flaws in others' arguments, a technique known as Socratic irony. Imagine using humor and wit to dismantle someone's poorly thought-out opinions. Sounds like a skill we could all use on social media, doesn't it? Speaking of social media, let's talk about Socrates' views on fame and public opinion. In an age where likes, shares, and followers seem to define our worth, Socrates' indifference to public opinion is refreshing. He didn't care about being popular or winning arguments for the sake of it. His goal was always the pursuit of truth and wisdom. Socrates once said, "Be slow to fall into friendship, but when you are in, continue firm and constant." In our fast-paced world of fleeting connections and superficial relationships, this advice hits home. Socrates valued deep, meaningful friendships based on mutual growth and intellectual stimulation. He saw friendship as a way to challenge each other and grow together, not just as a means of social networking. Now, you might be thinking, that's all well and good, but how does this apply to my life? Well, imagine approaching your daily interactions with the Socratic mindset. Instead of getting into heated arguments on Facebook, what if you asked genuine, probing questions to understand others' perspectives? What if, instead of blindly chasing success as defined by society, you took the time to examine what truly matters to you? Socrates' life teaches us the value of self-reflection. He believed that the key to wisdom was to know thyself. In our age of constant distraction and external validation, taking the time to look inward and question our own beliefs and motivations is more important than ever. But let's be real, living like Socrates isn't always easy. He was, after all, sentenced to death for his relentless questioning and unconventional lifestyle. However, his unwavering commitment to his principles, even in the face of death, serves as a powerful example of moral courage. As we wrap up our journey through Socrates' life, let's consider how we can apply his teachings in our modern world. Maybe it's taking a moment to question our assumptions before sharing that inflammatory post. Perhaps it's having the courage to stand up for our beliefs, even when it's unpopular. Or it could be simply taking the time to engage in deep, meaningful conversations with friends, rather than settling for superficial small talk. Socrates may have lived over 2,400 years ago, but his wisdom is timeless. In a world that often values appearance over substance, quick fixes over deep understanding, and conformity over critical thinking, Socrates' life serves as a powerful reminder of what it means to live an examined, purposeful life. So, the next time you're faced with a difficult decision or a challenging conversation, ask yourself, what would Socrates do? Chances are, he'd encourage you to question, to seek the truth, and to live with integrity no matter the consequences. In the end, Socrates' life teaches us that true wisdom isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to ask the right questions, the humility to admit what we don't know, and the integrity to live according to our principles. And in our complex, often confusing modern world, these lessons are more valuable than ever. So, are you ready to start living an examined life? The choice, as Socrates would say, is yours. But remember, once you start down the path of questioning and self-reflection, there's no turning back. And that, my friends, is the true legacy of Socrates. A legacy that continues to challenge and inspire us. Millennia after his death, now go forth and question everything, your assumptions, your beliefs, and yes, even this video. Socrates wouldn't have it any other way.